Try again, buddy. Try again. Yay! Okay. Oh yeah! Good job. Oh.
A small hollow in North Carolina. There have been several Bigfoot sightings.
Hunters may need to be on the lookout for something other than deer when they hit the woods this week.
He hadn't been spotted recently, but according to these pictures, the legendary Mothman is back.
The number of UFO sightings is soaring tenfold over the past 25 years.
Now, she's not talking about people. She is talking about ghosts hanging around what some say is a real-life haunted house.
You're listening to Paratalk Radio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy on paratalkradio.com, a member of the WLFE digital broadcast family. Paratalk Radio is your one-stop for all things paranormal, the unknown, and the supernatural. Join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for discussions and guests on topics such as ghosts, hauntings, Bigfoot, UFOs, and more. This broadcast is rated M for mature and is intended for listeners over 16. The topics, views, and opinions expressed on our show may not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Paratalk Radio, our hosts, or our sponsors. Now, live from J-Wolf Production Studio in Ontario, New York, here are your hosts, Ted and Cindy.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing, Cindy?
I'm good, honey. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Kind of excited.
My post for my Facebook, so I put it on there.
Cool.
I'm excited. Let's say hi.
All right, you do that. I'm excited about tonight, though.
I am too. Hi, Kristen. I'm so used to being able to tap it and touch it and do what I want it to, but I can't. Hi, Kristen.
Genevieve. Hey.
Genevieve, hi. Hi, Barry. Hi, Robert. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Michelle. Hello.
Genevieve, how are you, honey?
Yeah. We got some over on my page.
Ooh,
I'm
I'm having a hot flash. I took off my shirt because I could kind of feel it coming, and now it's wow.
What's that old song? We're having a heat wave.
Yes.
A tropical heat wave.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Right here in Cindy's body. You are welcome, everybody.
So,
Karen?
Yeah. Hello, Karen. So we're going to be talking with LeKross tonight, and I'm excited about this interview. I love LeKross. LeKross and I
love LeKross too.
We have got a friendship that is awesome as far as I'm concerned. I love this guy. You do know that his show went off at WLFE. He doesn't have a show right now, and I'm hoping someday he'll come back because I just love this guy to death. Really miss him. I really do. So
I know.
I know he's a special guy. I mean, he really is. But I figured we come in, we talk about spirits and ghosts and different cultures and stuff like that. When he can shed some light on stuff that, maybe we don't know or our people don't know. And there's some other things too. Somebody's on WLFE Paranormal View shows. Not sure who it is, but it says, "What's up, peeps?" But let's bring LeKross on, so he's not sitting in the back room going, "Hello, hello, I'm back here." Hello. So, all right, so everybody, welcome LeKross to the show.
Hey, hi. How are you?
Good, honey. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Working a lot. Oh my God, working.
You look so handsome.
Thank you.
What else?
And it's Christy in the Paranormal View shows.
Oh,
where's my sage, Christy?
Yeah, we'll be seeing her on the 6th and 7th of October. She'll be doing the investigation with us, and so will Mike. So some live stuff will be there.
The 6th, I believe. We're seeing about the 7th, because I'm going to be in New York City.
Oh,
nice.
No.
Going to Comic-Con.
Oh, even better.
Nice.
I love Comic-Con.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sweating so bad, you guys. This goddamn menopause. I don't know.
Could be.
Oh, wait a minute. The men all pause. You get it?
Men are paused.
But yeah, that's a good one.
The men are paused.
LeKross, you always look so nice. You always have a nice shirt on. Always has a tie. Always looks so nice.
I try to be schmexy and spiffy.
You are schmexy. I used that same word. I just said it to my son today. I told him, he said something about what we were talking about cars, because he really loves cars. He's Tesla. I'm like,
everybody's about the Teslas. Yeah.
Teslas are schmexy.
Lately, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So
look at my
we are on 7 feeds tonight. Last week we were on 8. We're on 7 tonight. We're going to be hopefully hello, Andra. Hopefully we're going to be getting some more outlets that we'll be running to soon. Barry says, I enjoyed the New Jersey Para Unity. Lots of people.
I'm so jelly.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Hank.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the last time Dom was in
okay,
Jersey.
Christy.
What did Christy say?
Christy's over on, she's actually on my page. She's over on my live feed. So I'm seeing her out of the corner of my eye. So that's cool.
Got it.
She's in the little device.
She's in the little. I gotta share.
Can you hear me even in that little device? Yeah, right. She's tiny. No, she's tiny. She's tiny. It's like those little people. Help me! I'm in here. Oh my gosh! So LeKross, I figured since everything has been changing for you, you've been working a lot. I wanted to get you on because why don't you start out by telling us what your nationality is?
Diverse.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
very diverse. So why don't?
It's like I always tell people I'm Puerto Rican. And when they find out I'm Jewish, I'm like, yeah, welcome back, Cotter, Juan Epstein. I get it. Funny. But yes, I am Puerto Rican, and I'm Jewish. I'm indigenous to the Caribbean, and did a lot of studying of both cultures, of Judaism and of the indigenous. There's a lot of similarities because all tribal religions have a creation story, basically an afterlife, judgment, like every culture has your basic concepts, and they also have the basic concept of afterlife and what happens when you don't actually get to the next life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting on both belief systems, the concept, because a lot of people think ghosts, and they and that's okay, and that's cool. But when you start really thinking about what those people are,
right,
and what happened that they got into that state in their spiritual, in their spirit, it gets dicey and complicated. So yeah, I am an atheist, so I do not believe in a supreme being, but I do believe in energy. So I want to clear that up. Whether ghost is energy, I just figure we just recycle, so if our spirit doesn't get into the bird or into the cat, whatever, we're just recycling and just kind of hanging around,
So, I just don't want to be Tweety because Sylvester's always after him.
I don't want to be a rock. It'll be forever. I'll just be there forever, just doing nothing.
And if you're salt, you just kind of like dissolve.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
so explain to me what the indigenous side is a little bit.
Okay, well, I am Taino, and Taino were the indigenous people of the Caribbean, and that it gets a little. Once again, it gets complicated. They started in South Americas, worked through the Antilles, and ended up in the Caribbean. They are not the same as the Northern. The Northern ended up working their way down through Mexico, things like that. But we all kind of met. The bridge is the Caribbean. So our people were the first in the conquest. They were the first conquered by Columbus. He didn't. How do I put?
Excuse me.
Oh, what's the word? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the word. Because people give him all this credit for that. Oh, what is the word? Discover. Discover. Yeah. No, he didn't discover. He got lost. He got lost. He went the wrong way. So when he got to the Caribbean, he thought they were Indians. So hence he called them Indians, but they weren't Indians. So what happened is during that conquest, the only information we got was basically transcribed, because we were a people of petroglyphs, explorers. We would go up and down the east coast of the North Americas, all through Central America and South America. So we were the explorers. Most of the words that you know today, canoe, Taino, barbecue, Taino, even the word hurricane comes from the Taino, huracan. So a lot of the everyday culture people don't realize came from the people. So with that being said, what the Tainos believed is they believed in 3 celestial places. There was your upper celestial, middle, lower. Now, it wasn't heaven and hell. They didn't believe in that at all. They just believed your spirit could either go up or it could go down. Most of them wanted to go down because going down meant you were going back into the Earth Mother and back into her womb. So it was like a beautiful recycling. And but when the soul didn't actually go anywhere, it would just wander. It would just wander around. And
was that your middle plane then?
Yeah, that was like your middle plane. Yep. And they would just wander. But it's like the same thing in Judaism. If they wandered too long, they started becoming aggressive because they haven't found peace.
Interesting.
So since they haven't found any peace, which they call them the goyis. The goyis is a living soul. So we are technically a goyis. We're a living soul. A hupia is a soul that has been stuck. They died. Yeah, hupia or opia. Nice. That's the soul of the dead. And so what happened is our shamans or our medicine people, you had the Behike, he would be the spiritual leader of the tribe, and then you had the Boitu, and he was the journeyman. So his job was to go, he would take Kohoba, which is a hallucinogen, he would journey, he would find these souls and take them back to Koabe. And then whatever medicine that he would get from them, because that was technically an ancestor, he would bring it back to heal the living. So it's pretty intense on how they did things.
Right.
And the hupia, or not the hupia, what is it? The hupia would get aggressive. It would try and snatch your soul or your body because it didn't have one.
Oh.
And
let's not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what would happen was there's lots of stories. Mom. Because even my grandfather would say that you weren't supposed to go out after dark. If you went after dark, a hupia would get you. And he remembered, he said he saw one and that he was going. And the only way he could tell, and you're not supposed to look in their eyes, because if you look in their eyes are the window to the soul. That's how they got in.
Oh.
So he would keep his eyes closed if he went out at night, all like, I don't know how you're going to find where you're going, but good luck, Pops. But that's, yeah, it was crazy.
Mm.
And
my mommy's in here.
Oh, hi.
I did say hi a little bit. I said it to her in the text message, but hi a little bit.
Oh,
jeez.
No, I
She's
said
like
I
going
know, but I
crazy
said hi. My mama is in here.
I see that Melody's in there. I see that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So,
yeah.
that's kind of cool because, I study theology and, there's a lot of different, within the cultures itself and its religions and its faiths, there's a lot of, what do we want to call them? Superstitions.
Yes.
And the superstitions, they all start from somewhere. And
Right.
sometimes it's usually a story from the past where, somebody's aunt or uncle or whatever, let's just say met up with, say, the chupacabra. Let's just throw that out there.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the story was invented. And that story was put out there to deter people from going out after dark.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And getting into, certain plains or certain deserts and stuff like that, because that's what they're known to be in. And so a lot of cultures had that with their faith and their religion. And that's how a lot of that changed over now with the superstitions and the ghosts. And even like with today, I mean, everybody just calls them ghosts, but what is a ghost?
Right.
Some people say, well, it could be the incubus, the succubus, it could be the banshee, it could be, you know what I mean? So there's so many different things out there. And if you don't know your history or what you're following, the tradition itself or whatever that culture may see these as, you're messing with something you don't know, and you don't know what you're gonna do,
Right.
And then you can even look at the science of it. Like I always tell people, I said, how do we know it's just not a parallel universe kind of crossing over?
Yeah.
And we're kind of getting caught.
Now you're getting into the Cindy stuff.
But then you just don't know. And at the end of the day, I look at it, I say, who says you're not the ghost?
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly it.
You
I
know,
mean, there was a great movie that talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's
called The Others.
Bottom line is at that point in time, whether you're the ghost or you see the ghost, somebody's lost.
Right.
That's how I look at it. Somebody is misplaced.
Well, I'm going to bring this up. Remember that movie? Was it People Under the Stairs, Cindy? No, what was the movie that
The Others.
The Others.
Yes.
It was a two dimensions,
that's what
right?
I just said. Yes, that's what I was just talking about.
Or even something as good as
says
like The
she's
Sixth
totally
Sense.
ghost.
He didn't even know.
Oh, The Sixth Sense. Oh, yeah. He didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, I knew from the beginning.
Hello,
that
Lords.
somebody told me. So mad.
Yeah. I'm about to get the whip and jump in the car, Ted. Hi. You know what? A little bit. I said it on the message now. I've said it to you vocally here. So turn up your volume or learn how to read.
Well, it froze for her for a little bit, but I like that. She said, all right, Ted, you are about to get a spanking.
Yeah, well, she said she's going to get the whip and jump in the car.
I know. I like that. That's kind of fun to me. I just want to be a watchful participant.
There you go. So you got a question already there, LeKross. Does the native tradition have stories of myth about ETs?
I can't speak for other indigenous people because I don't know their, I don't know their ways. I know in ours, I've never heard one. I don't know that one has been recorded because, like I said, most of our stuff was recorded in early 1500s, and it was recorded through a Christian perspective. With that being said, they mostly did the stories and made us seem more like savages, so it's kind of hard to determine. And a lot of it was twisted. It was twisted. And you can even find some of the writings. One of the writers was Ramon Panay, and another one was Bartolomeo de las Casas. And they literally wrote some of the history, some of the stories, some of what they did to the indigenous people, which ended up going to Spain. Didn't help much, but it was horrific. But as far as anything concerning any type of extraterrestrial, I've never heard anything.
That's cool. She asks, are there any sacred texts or anything for that? Other than probably what's been written.
What's in the
by...
caves? What's in the caves, honestly. Whatever is in the
Yeah.
caves are sacred texts because they were all petroglyphs. Since we didn't actually have a language that was phonetic in the sense of writing, everything was put like a picture of a turtle or a picture of a manatee or a picture of a man and a woman. Those were our sacred texts because that's they've even found them as far north as I think Georgia. They found actual Taino petroglyphs. So
now, how do you spell that? How do you spell that?
Taino or petroglyphs?
Taino.
I'd say I could do Taino, but petroglyphs, I don't know.
I could help that with that one.
Right.
The
right.
Taino. How do you
Taino? It's Taino.
Oh, okay.
Andra says, how do I spell the native tradition word?
Of which
I don't know
word?
which
Taino?
one you're talking to. If it's Taino, then you just got
Taino is the name of the indigenous. Well, there were let me explain. There were two tribes. There was the Caribs, which were the warrior type, and there was the Taino, which were the very passive. So I just know I'm 14% indigenous. I could be Carib. At the end of the day, because you can't really tell. It's hard to place where your bloodline is. Like northern people can, place it a little bit more because they have a lot more documentation. But us, all our documentation went to Spain when Spain left in 1892. So in Puerto Rico, you got to go to Spain if you want to know anything.
Right.
Right.
So that's got to be tough to find stuff like, and it's got to be nerve-wracking too. So I'm pretty sure that when you were doing all that research, you were like, "Oh,
it's frustrating." It was very frustrating because it stops at 1841 for me.
Wow,
that's it. I can only go as far back, within Puerto Rico. I can only go as far as back as 18. But for the record, a lot of my my ancestry did come from Spain, so that's why I have such a small percentage of indigenous. Doesn't make it any less valid, but I mean,
that's right.
And they didn't keep records of the indigenous people. They would just call them mestizos, or they would call them, mixed breeds or whatever. So there was really they just documented your color. So you're either white or you were dark.
That was it.
That was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No peanut butter, like in my family. My son-in-law calls himself peanut butter.
I prefer butter pecan.
Puerto Rican, Jamaican. Oh, butter pecan.
I know butter pecan.
This is what AJ has said. Peanut butter for him is his Puerto Rican, his Jamaican, and his white.
There you go. There you go. Peanut butter and fluff, maybe. If he's got it's the little fluff in there.
Just a little bit of fluff.
All right. So Andra has another question for you. So is the Jewish Taino overlap endemic to
those islands?
Islands or just your ethnicity?
So
both.
So that's interesting.
Both.
Interesting.
Both. Absolutely. Because a lot of people don't understand that in 1492, when Columbus came, he brought criminals. What was going on in Spain in 1492? The Inquisition.
Right.
So who were the criminals? The Jews. So they shoved them into boats, sent them off to the Caribbean, pay off their time, because it was either that or death. They had to turn their back on the Jewish faith. They had to become Catholic. They had to repent, and then they had to go work. So it is an overlap. But I'm Jewish due to my Spanish ancestry from Spain, not from my ancestry from the Caribbean. So mine came from, because my family's from Barcelona, which was predominantly Jewish. And there's a whole bunch of other complicated things, a lot of
that is complicated.
It is.
That's like just being put in a bowl and mixed up.
Yeah, it is. And the funny thing is when I actually did do my DNA, I ended up from Morocco, Africa, Middle East, Spain. I'm like, what the? I'm a Heinz 57.
Yeah, that'd be like stirring it in a bowl and then going throwing it on the wall. That's what you are. Whatever.
Look what that one looks like.
Well, the funny part is that I did my DNA too. I did 23andMe, and it said when I first had it done that I was 0.1% African. I'm like, I knew it.
Right. Right.
And then it changed somewhere along the way, and they took my African out of me. But
Well,
it's
I ended
still
up
in there. I know
Ashkenazi
it.
Jew, and I'm like, what?
Yes, my sister too. My
And
sister
Irish.
has
I'm like,
Ashkenazi.
I said, okay, which
Wait,
grandparent
well,
was canoodling in there? Or I got Ashkenazi Jew and Irish. Come on now.
yeah. Well, I have a lot. Most of me, I think they have said now is Eastern European.
Right.
European?
I have it.
You better go to the
Eastern
bathroom for
European.
that.
I know. I'm a peeing right here, right now.
All right, so
No,
let's
not
get
in
back
front
on
of you.
track
That
here.
would be
So,
weird.
one of the things that I really like about different cultures is their views and their superstitions. And that's where I want to kind of talk about things. I know that, and we're all going to get the opportunity to say, because we all follow a different faith or tradition or culture, we all kind of like bring that into, because I think this day and age, and even, our age now and the younger, underneath this is like, we want to know where we're coming from. And that's why all that is blown up, and it's very important to all of us to find out. Like with me, it's like, I wanted to know who my totems were from the Native American side. When I started doing the research, I wanted to know who I was related to, and coming from a family like where my parents are from Standards, New York, my mom is, and they're still hill people, and the superstitions there are so different.
Oh yeah,
especially when you're indigenous.
Mhm.
They're so different from what, say, where I live now, what they believe in their Catholic or Christian or Jewish faith or so on and so forth. So superstitions are one of those things that I love to hear about, because it's like, I don't know how many times you go somewhere and somebody starts saying, "Oh, you better throw salt over your shoulder." Have you ever wondered why?
Right. That's so funny, because there is one tradition that in Puerto Rico we have, which I remember as a child, my parents would constantly, whenever you were bad, the cuco was coming.
The what?
The cuco.
Cuco, okay.
They called it el cuco. Now, el cuco is actually, it's very interesting, because in Arecibo they do a festival, and we call it a vejigante, and it's actually this big cloak, almost looks like a Krampus.
Oh.
And what it does is it walks around with a bat, and if you're bad, it beats you and it drags you off to the woods and then beats your ass and then sends you back.
Beat your ass.
Yes, it will beat your ass. So they're like, and I remember my parents. So if you think I'm going to give it to you hard, wait till the cuco comes for you, because you were bad. And I was like, I don't want the cuco. I don't want the cuco. I'd be terrified, But there were, I always say there were things you can't explain. And where I'm going with this story is, I was about 15 years old. I was hanging out my cigarette, smoking a cigarette, which I wasn't supposed to. I was a bad kid. I was so rebellious.
Shame.
So I'm hanging out my cigarette, and finally I'm looking off into the distance. And at the end of the fence, we had a small fence. There was this thing. I don't know what it was. And it was just kind of rocking back and forth. And it starts shaking the fence. And you just hear this coming out of it. So when I saw it, I said, "Oh shit." Close my window, threw the cigarette, closed my window, covered my head. I said, "Oh my God." And I'm thinking, and then I'm like, you're crazy. But the crazy part is, at 6 a.m, I hear my father yelling. And he's saying, "These goddamn kids always tearing up my fence and destroying my fence." And I looked out and the fence was destroyed.
Wow.
I don't know what it was.
What?
I have no idea. I just know I saw something. And of course, my first thought was, the cuco came to get me because I was smoking. That was my first thought. The cuco showed up.
And that's like you said, with Krampus, it's pretty close to the same thing, because the Krampus theory was that it would come, like, if you were bad, especially around Christmas time, if you're a bad kid, Krampus would come and get you, throw you in his bag, and then he would collect all the bad kids of the world, take them back to his plane, and then he would pretty much either eat you or whatever. So some of those beliefs were that hey, you better be good or Krampus is going to get you.
Right.
Jesus,
And
that's
with
so
us, it was El
scary.
Cuco.
Come on now.
Yeah, but you
And
know what, though, Cindy? That's the way traditions were, and some of these beliefs were like that because if you were if the parents didn't have any way to control you, that was their way of saying, "Okay, keep your shit up. Guess what's going to happen?"
yeah. I mean, is it any different than saying if you're good, Santa will bring you toys?
Right.
Mm.
It's not really any different. So what, you want to buy the kid or you want to scare the kid? I scare the kid and I'm like, because I'm not buying your shit, all right? You've been bad.
Right.
So hey,
And
it's
you're
not
not
any
the-
different than the Christian value. It's like, hey, if you're good, if you do what you do, you go to God. If not,
Right. You go to
the
hell.
devil. You
Yep.
go to hell.
It's always
You're going to
consequences.
hell, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, most of us are living that now, so we don't even
Right.
care. But
That's right.
you know, it's
This is hell to me.
you know, but there are so many different stories. Like there is actually a native story that I remember that when you did something that you weren't supposed to do, like against your parents, like if you fought back with your parents, if you did anything like that, if you were bad to your tribe, to your people, they would cast you out. Okay.
Right.
So when they casted you out, it was a belief that similar to like the werewolf, but it was the skinwalker and stuff like that,
Right.
that this would come and get you, you know, and drag you and make you his,
Right.
you know, and then you would have to serve him,
Yeah.
you know, and that's scary stuff when you're a little kid because, you know, do you know what a skinwalker looks like? I mean, there's a lot of pictures out there, but
Right.
you
Now
know,
I gotta look. I'm gonna Google it.
And when you think of what a skinwalker is, I mean, it could turn into
Yeah.
anything. It could
Yeah.
be anything.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
see, you know, and I'm not saying that that's what the skinwalkers, you know,
Right.
thing really was, but there were
God, I
stories
don't wanna
of
be
things
scared.
like that.
I'm
What?
blessing my phone before I look at this. Nothing is allowed to come in or out of this phone.
Well, it wasn't any worse than the
Nothing's
stories of
allowed
like
to come
Hansel
in
and
or
Gretel.
out.
You didn't
Right.
go to the woods. You didn't take food from somebody that you didn't know.
Jesus Christmas!
It was based on the
Why
fact
did I
that
look this up?
it was based on the fact that you did not steal.
Why?
Yeah.
Why did I look this up? This is terrifying.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
He looks
ones
like he
out
has a
there.
bad
Oh,
back. Poor guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Skinwalker can pretty much
Definitely
look
got
like
a bad
anything.
back.
Yeah.
But you know, the true story of Hansel and Gretel, you know, was basically you did not steal. That was the whole thing of the story.
Right.
You did not steal, and they stole, and that the witch was going to eat them. The witch was going to kill them and put them in the oven.
Right.
So stuff like that has been
Oh,
in
shit.
our
I'm sorry.
past forever.
Right.
You know, there was always something to deter you from doing wrong.
Right, because it's a matter of control. And that's
Right.
what it boils down to. I'm not saying that these stories are true. I'm not saying that they're not
Oh.
true. The bottom line is that there has to be, like, okay, we could talk biblical here.
Mhm.
Moses could have said, look, there's somebody up there. He had to control 6 million people. How was he going to do that if there's not somebody up there? You're going to strike you down if you get out of line. You better follow me. You know,
Right.
I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but what I'm saying is you got to control people in the sense because it's hard to control a mass amount of people.
Well, our government's doing, you know,
Right.
what they're doing. So that's
Is
gonna
it
get
any
us to leave.
different?
I
It's
shouldn't have
called
said
a
that.
vaccine.
I shouldn't have said that, but
But
you know,
it is, yeah.
No,
You
they're
know-
trying to control us, all right. Listen,
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Comic-Con and had to get my fucking shot. I mean, what?
but you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, and it's not just about the kids being bad or anything like that. But you know as well as I do that a lot of those things were
Yeah.
turned into not just fairy tales, but songs that the kids sang.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
know?
I mean, Ring Around the Rosie was actually about the
The plague.
The plague, yeah.
Yeah.
It was about the plague.
Yeah.
You know?
Doc says he always wanted a witch to eat him.
Oh Jesus.
I mean, so skinwalkers might be witches to Doc.
Well, they are a form of that, believe it or not. So
Yep. Aw.
Aw. There you go.
Right?
But
I'm
you know,
sweating
a
balls
lot
here.
of things like that kind of get me because we used to hear a lot of things, and some of these old stories and myths and stuff like that come from like from what I'm told, a hint of truth. They come
Yes.
from
Yes, right.
what they believe, so it's a hint of truth. So whether it's, they really saw that or not, there was always some truth behind it,
Absolutely.
or something they couldn't explain.
And I was actually just about to say that because it goes to dealing with a primitive mindset. They were very primitive back then, so they weren't able to articulate what they
Right.
saw. So what are they going to say? I saw the Jersey Devil, or I saw,
Yes, Mom.
I saw this, or I saw that. And it's not that they didn't see it. It's that that's all how they could articulate it. And they were so scared of something that they didn't understand. Imagination grows and it extends. I'm not going to say there wasn't some type of animal during in Jersey.
Right.
Now, did it look exactly like how they say? I don't know. Maybe today we could look at it and say, oh, maybe it was like a deformed cougar. Who knows?
Right.
Well, look at the way they describe. Let's
Right.
take this to this extreme for just a second, but let's talk about the way people describe Bigfoot, how they describe the Dogman, how they describe Mothman, how they describe, you know what I mean? There's always some difference, but yet there's a lot of things that are the same.
Right.
So who are we to say, okay, I've never seen it, so I can't tell you.
Right.
But that brings me back to a something that I learned a long time ago, especially in faith and religion and how things started. If we take a small little step backwards and thinking about the way man itself started to develop, especially with faith and gods and the belief, you could go back to caveman days to where, picture this, you're in a cave, you have your clan there, and then they're starving and blah blah blah, but yet outside the cave door there's a whole bunch of deer out there. Well, their way of sneaking up on that deer is to act like that deer so they can get close enough to kill that deer. So they would engulf that image.
No, Brad.
That is low.
And go out there.
Right.
And so that was okay. Well, then, a God is giving me that, intent, that belief. So, if I have to do this, then I have to, so that's how things start. It really does. It's like our mind tries to say, well, how am I going to do that? And is there an influence from somewhere making this happen?
Right. Absolutely. And, and I think that's the beauty of it, is that as we get older, or not get older, as we evolve, we're actually being able to see, and we can document now. We can see real footage. Like I may not believe in God, but some of the things that I see, and I'm like, whoa, that's
what is it?
That's crazy. That's crazy. And I can't articulate it, and we have so much more of an extensive language now. But now we have the opportunities to document, to really see these things up close and personal.
And there's always somebody other than ourselves that has a piece of information that we don't, that can help with that as well. And that's why I like the fact that us, as in human beings, we're always out there trying to learn. We're trying to, we're very curious, and even though curiosity killed the cat, there's another one of those little sayings, the curiosity killed the cat, but what brought it back?
Right. Exactly.
So we just have to remember that, being who we are as human beings and animals ourselves, what it saw brought it back.
Can you put Doc up on because nobody else can see his, because they're all on Facebook. So you got to show what Doc wrote.
Can we tip to buy? There we go. It's cheaper, Doc. It's cheaper if we just fill up the bathtub with ice cubes and let her jump in.
There you go.
I had Jet bring me the fan and turn it on for me.
There you go.
I couldn't handle it anymore.
So, that there's other things like what you were saying, that there's things that even surprise you still today with I don't have an answer. It's the same with us within the paranormal all the way around. Even though we can sit down and probably say 90% or 85% of what we do, we can explain, you're still left with 10 or 15% of saying, well, I have no explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and
That's
then some
100%.
people would say to you, then other people would say to you, well, it's faith, it's belief, it's ghosts,
Doc has
it's
a good
blah blah.
point.
Yeah.
Let's
Because
see. What's Doc got here? Hold on. The evolution of language is a good point. Over the centuries, we just didn't have the detailed language that would describe what was being witnessed.
It's so funny. I was just actually thinking about that yesterday, I think it was, is that, you know, the Bible was written, but it may have been a couple nights ago because I was watching this new show on Netflix called Midnight Mass.
Yes, I actually just saw the thing for that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would tell you guys to go because it's not necessarily what you think. So it's pretty good, and it's a great thing to discuss afterward. But
Right.
It's what's interesting is, you know, the whole concept of the Bible and what they were saying back then means different things for that era.
Right.
It means it's and I think it's interesting that humans try to put whatever, and it doesn't matter if you have a Roman Catholic priest, if you have a Episcopalian priest, or, you know, minister, or a Baptist minister, right? They all have their own spin on what it means, and it can be however they want to control you with it when it comes down to
And
it.
It's not funny, but what we've learned also about that is that the fact is it's called a comfortability factor, something that they themselves can be comfortable with. So that's why they say certain things. That's why they wrote the way they wrote, was because they wanted it to be translated to where people could understand it, as well as it being comfortable enough, you know, for them to live with it.
Exactly.
You know?
And there's I have a whole other understanding on that, which we'll probably get onto that when we go into the other part of like Judaism. But I did see a question.
Yeah, Andrea.
Yes.
Okay.
Why would a journeyman bring
Andrea?
Okay.
She goes, why would a journeyman bring back medicine from a disembodied spirit?
Okay.
That's
there we
an
go.
Interesting question.
There is a perfectly good question. Just because the spirit is disembodied or whatever doesn't mean it doesn't have medicine. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have anything to offer. There are people today, they aren't dead and they're sick in the head. They have lots of problems, lots of issues, but it doesn't mean that they don't have anything to bring to the table.
Oh snap!
Also,
that was a good one.
With that being said, it's just a lost soul. It's just lost. It's you know, it may end up getting aggressive because it's frustrated because it's lost and it doesn't realize what direction it needs to go. But it doesn't mean that it's worthless. It still has, you know, it still has purpose. Even in there's actually the Hopi tribe. The Hopi tribe, one of their greatest medicine people is an idiot. It's an idiot. His job is to just be a fool, act like an idiot, because
and why is that?
His medicine is laughter, and laughter is medicine.
Exactly.
That's right.
Laughter heals. Laughter heals.
Exactly.
And they knew that long before we did.
Right. So that's, I mean, and not that I'm like, yes, it is risky. It is risky, just like it is risky with just even regular people every day.
Robert.
We're taking a chance with people every single day, connecting, building relationships. We get screwed over. You know, it is what it is, but it doesn't mean you don't take the lessons, you apply them, and you take the medicine that's offered. So I hope that answered that
so much, LeKross. I love that so much. It was a great answer, and I definitely agree with that because, I mean, I would like to believe that all the spirit that I speak to, I mean, it's still the same thing, though I'm not necessarily a shaman, right? I still bring medicine to those that need it, right?
Right.
And there's other things like in the past that with some of the pagan cultures as well as their magic is that what they would do is if they were dealing with something evil, something very negative, in some cases they had no choice but to conjure something that was even more evil or more dangerous than what that was, just to get rid of it.
Right.
So, you know, that's, and you can find that in voodoo. You can find that in,
you can even find it in Judaism, the golem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of that out there that sometimes you have to, you know, bring up the bad to kill the
right.
bad.
Well,
you know?
think about it this way: in witchcraft, in Wicca, in paganism, if you want to get rid of cancer, which is a living being, you have to kill the cancer, which is a living thing. That's black magic that you have to use to kill the cancer to heal the body.
The body. Right, right.
So it's a balance of black and white, right? It's never just this. I like to call it a gray area because
What was
you have to use both in order.
What was
to have
that war statement they used to say? The
war is
the
hell?
enemy of my
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
There you go. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to do that. I mean, that's that comes right from war.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it just itself, I think it was either the Vikings or the English used the Irish to go after the Scottish.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they were both considered pagan. In fact, the Scottish thought the Irish. Scottish thought the Irish ate peoples or something like that. They were cannibals, and I remember reading that somewhere. But there was something like that. So there's a lot of different stuff out there that just nothing is as binary as good and evil.
Yeah.
Yes, nothing is as binary as good and evil.
Yeah.
Right.
But
oh my God, that just made me remember a dream I had. So wow, that was like so weird.
Deja vu.
That just totally brought me to that dream. That was so weird. And I had that so long ago.
So let's get into your indigenous side again with it. What do they call ghosts? What are they to them? Just a lost spirit?
It's the hupia. It's a soul. It's just a lost soul. It's a soul that didn't make it back. Or it's also it could be somebody who recently passed and is on their journey. So because you don't know when you see it, like how people don't plan to see spirits or ghosts or anything. I mean, unless you're going out to go look for it. And the chances of actually finding a legit one, like we've spoken before, it's rare. It's a rarity.
So I'm going to ask you, LeKross, have you ever seen one?
I think I did. I think I saw something like once again, there was one that would actually always go after my father. It was a woman. She was always dressed in white. She always had long hair, blonde hair, and she would always go to my father. Nobody else in the house. Everybody saw this woman except my father. From what we had been told, someone had been killed during the construction in that area. I lived in a development. This is when developments really started popping up in the 60s, the 50s, the 60s. So in the late 60s, my father had purchased a home and was waiting for it to be built. And from what we had heard, this woman was killed during the construction. Wow. I don't know if that's something that was just told to us, if it was fact. I just know everybody had seen this woman and she always went to my father. So
that's interesting. I wonder if she went to him because she was reminded of somebody she knew.
Maybe. I don't know. I never stopped to ask her.
I saw her, I'm like, hey, excuse me, lady.
Feline other way.
I'm like, poo, get away.
Yo, lady, I got some questions for you. Come here.
No. I said, this little Jersey boy is gone. Okay, I'm out of here. No. Oh, sorry, my headphones popped for a second. Oh, there it goes. Give me a second.
Or maybe because she knew he could see her.
There you go.
They pop right off.
So true.
All right, so we're gonna go to the Jewish side here right after break. So let's finish up here for the next couple minutes before we take break. And so to you, like, what else do you have that you can talk about that yourself is like a I don't know, a superstition or something that kind of is freaky that you would consider,
Well, it's hard because, like I said, I've had to be an atheist and to have had so many things that have happened to me and be an atheist is like, some people are just like, I don't get it. But bottom line, my atheism is God is irrelevant. Okay. That's what it boils down to. God is irrelevant.
Okay.
But I've had so many incidents. Like, some people believe in guardian angels. One time it was late at night and I was with my daughter, and my daughter was very small. She was like about 2-3 years old. And I got off the bus because I was going to go see a cousin of mine. And I'm walking and I'm thinking, and it was late. Because, see, in Jersey, the buses run 24/7. So it must have been like 2-3 in the morning. And I started walking and I was going to get jumped. Even though I had my kid with me, I was going to get jumped. There was like about 4 guys that they started walking my way. And I'm just like, okay, this is it. And I'm just thinking about, just don't, beat me. I don't care. Just don't hurt my baby. I'll give you whatever money I got. Just don't touch my baby. All of a sudden, they just looked at me all freaked out. And they turned around and left. So I'm like, what the hell? And I turn around and this big, tall guy, huge, massive guy. Like, he must have been like 6'4", 6'5". And he goes, you're all right now. I'll walk you home. I said, okay. And he had the clearest eyes. They weren't blue. They were like ice. So he walked me and I got to the corner. Now, it was a corner. And my cousin's house was right here. And the street here and here. He's like, I think you're okay from here. How did he know where I was going? I don't know. So I start walking and I literally took like maybe
He's
2-3
been
steps.
stalking you.
2-3 steps. And I said, you know what? This is too weird. I turned around and I literally went to the street 2-3 steps back. You would have seen him at least walking in one of those 3 directions. Nothing, gone. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. I don't know how to explain it. So I go to my cousin. Oh, it's a guardian angel. God sent the guardian angel. I don't know. He was a big guy, though. I know he was tall.
He was too big to be an angel. Those wings would have never lifted him up.
Exactly.
So
why did he give me a ride?
LeKross, that's literally how I see angels. Is they're huge. They are really big comparatively to us. Well, the archangels I see is like 9 to 12 feet tall. Right. And and then the angels in between are anywhere from 6 to that 9 feet tall.
Right. And like
so
I said,
I definitely feel like you had some divine intervention, my friend.
Maybe. I mean,
the atheism is saying, I don't.
It's like I said, it's just I have a problem with that because of the whole point is that if there is a God, he reigns on the just and the unjust. And I believe that if there is a God, there's more important things to be done than worry about me. There is a universe to keep together, stop us from crashing into the sun. My lottery ticket does not take precedence. My kid who's sick does not take precedence when you think that we are nothing but this minuscule thing. So like I said, I'm not an atheist because I dislike God or I don't want anything to do with it. It is irrelevant when we live on this planet. Because we are the ones who determine our lives.
Exactly. So the things that Spirit has taught me was that we control our contracts. Right. We have contractual agreements with other souls that agree to do certain things with us. It's not necessarily that your sick child is because of God.
Right.
It's because they contractually came into this life and said, this is how you're going to learn. This is how I'm going to learn, etc.
Right.
And that's how I like to think about it, rather than some higher being is going, I'm going to smite thee.
Right. It's just to me is complete. And I have a problem with that because when you sit here and you see a poor mother who her child is dying of cancer, and this one said, oh, I prayed and God answered my prayer because I had faith. That woman had just as much faith.
Exactly.
So don't tell me that your prayer or your faith would usurp hers. It's just, to me, that just, it's not logical. It makes no sense. It's just hypocritical. And I think it's just people need it. People need a God because at the end of the day, we're going to die. And they got to know we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
They don't want to end up in a rock.
what's that word? Wait a minute. Fear.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
And
you know,
Absolutely.
and I, you know, what's weird is like I've always, when I get in heated discussions with my father, and trust me, there's been a lot. There's always stuff like something will come up about death, and it's like, you think I'm afraid to die? I'm not afraid to die. It's the fear of leaving all this with you not being able to take care of yourself, and who else is going to do it?
Right. That is my fear. It's not fear. I'm not scared to die. I fear who will take care of my kids, who will take care of my wife.
Exactly. That's exactly.
My fear is the sadness. It's like almost an overwhelming sadness that I won't be here to protect them, to love them, to cherish them.
Or
that's
teach them.
where it comes in.
Or teach them.
Right. And that's where my fear comes in. But if it's my time to go, you know what? I had a good run and I can't complain. I had a good life. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't want to die. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to die, but you know.
What's that saying?
I don't want to die today.
When I die, I want them to bury me in the ground, my ass hanging out, so they can use my butt as a bicycle holder, so they can just run.
Oh,
that sounds terrible.
Why am I seeing your ass out of the ground, Teddy?
What's worse, my uncle says, bury me upside down so the world could kiss my ass. And I'm like, not nice.
All right, I think we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. And then we're going to talk about some more myths, talk about some more superstitions, talk about a lot of different stuff, and have fun, because that's what it's about. You know, we're learning. Sometimes you just have to have fun to learn, believe it or not.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier than sitting in a school going, how do you learn?
Hi, Karen.
Excuse me, whack. You know, so.
Oh my goodness.
We'll come back to Karen's comment when we come back, right?
All right, sounds good to me. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE-DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab, and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
Try again, buddy. Try again. Yay! Okay. Oh yeah! Good job. Oh.
Right? Either I'm eating.
Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Bree, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area, 410-400-9641, or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
You're listening to WLFE DB Radio. Now back to our program.
Okay. So,
Hi. Okay, so I was looking up Thunderbird stuff.
okay.
Teddy, you're so funny. I love it.
Well, there was a
So,
reason why I did this. So, but you go ahead with what you got, and now I will go with what this is for.
Well, why don't you do yours first?
Okay, so people have this fear of clowns. They have a fear of painted faces. They have a fear of things like this. And believe it or not, the clown was one of those creatures that, and I'm going to say creature because they started out with the indigenous people. What they were to scare evil spirits away. They would paint their faces in different ways, as well as add stuff to their appearance to scare evil spirits or keep unwanted other groups of people from their place. So they would scare them. It was the same as the jack-o'-lantern. It was the same as putting wood in the trees to make noise, you know what I mean, and things like that. So it's another one of those things that we don't understand where it came from. Yeah. And clowns are one of those. They were to scare evil spirits. They were to scare people from getting too close, you know, especially bad people. So that's another thing that I just wanted to bring up real quick. So,
and to see how it's evolved.
Oh yeah, now it's used for comedy, but back in the day it was used to actually instill fear.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things that instill fear with a clown face.
Right.
All right. So Karen Smith's question was: I had an encounter with a statement. She said, I had an encounter with a Thunderbird. It was a shadow.
It was a shadow.
Yep, a shadow, massive, and there was 4 other birds also. What are some of the Thunderbird references? So Cindy's got that answer for you.
Yeah. So when I looked it up on Google, it says the native Thunderbird symbol represents power, protection, and strength. He is often seen as the most powerful of all spirits and can also transform into human form by opening his head up like a mask and taking his feathers off as if they were a mere blanket. And I have Ted Andrews' Animals Speak, and he just mentions very briefly a couple things about the Thunderbird. And it says, the Thunderbird is a spirit creature with great creative power and might. And then he also references the Thunderbird to the Native Americans as most often depicted in the form of an eagle. This was the great spirit who controlled lightning and rain, punishment and reward.
And that's why the eagle feather is it's illegal to have the eagle feather.
If you don't have indigenous blood, you are not allowed to have an eagle feather.
You are not allowed to have an eagle feather. Right?
If I could also when animals come to you, birds, whatever animal, you got to understand it's a guide. And I always tell people the best thing you can do is learn everything you can about that animal, because it's got a lesson. It's got to teach you. You know, like lately I've had the horse big time coming to me. I've already passed the time of the wolf. I mean, I always have my crow with me at all times, but lately it's been the horse and me trying to figure out what does the horse want to teach me, because I know I'm stubborn and I ain't moving my feet, you know, I'm just, you know, but also
that sounds more like a jackass though, because you're
maybe I'm a mule.
Stop it.
You know,
no, I was just saying, but that's what a mule or a jackass or a burro, they are. They're very stubborn. But what other people don't understand is they're also protectors, because in the indigenous life, they're also they were used to put around their camps, because they did keep the coyotes and the wolves away. They were very protective, and they would actually kill the coyotes
Oh, yeah.
It was just another thing that the indigenous people learned over all those years, that some animals were protective.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm all totem. I love my totems. I love them.
I do. I definitely step back, especially when I'm doing a reading, and any kind of animal, insect, anything that comes in, I make sure I let my clients know that there is a reason that creature is coming to you right now. There's
So
a reason,
Robert,
and they need
if
to
you know
understand.
Robert, if you ever seen his posts, he deals with a lot of these little birds, the rainbow lorikeets, and he puts his arm out and they all land on his arm. I mean, these birds just love him to death, and he's just thankful they're not thunderbirds because a few of them are nippers, he said. So
Right.
Karen Smith says, yes, 2 big ravens moved in, but I am telepathic, so I can even communicate with the fish. They swim into my net.
Wow. That's amazing.
That is. That's so cool.
That is.
All right, so we're going to move over to the Jewish side of things.
Poor clowns.
Poor clowns. Yep, poor clowns. And he is the Birdman of Australia. There you go, Robert. That's your new name. So, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about their beliefs and stuff, because to me it's fascinating with every culture how they perceive things. Now, before we go into that, I want to say that I did a lot of study with the Egyptian belief system as well as what they had, and they had a lot of pictographs and so on and so forth on their walls as well, except some of them seem to have been of the future.
Right.
Yes.
So,
well,
but the story. Go ahead. Go ahead,
I mean,
Cindy.
but isn't it possible that they were seeing future things, just as who the heck was it? The the inventor,
like Nostradamus.
Nostradamus, and but there was also the inventor that also. Oh my gosh, he was also the painter of the Mona Lisa, right?
You're talking about Da Vinci.
Who it is.
Yeah, Da Vinci did too.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Da Vinci made a winged vehicle that can carry people in its belly, right?
And see, they could be some type of looking into the future. But what I find is even the indigenous people of North America, their stories were either told down as in stories around the bonfire or a fire at night, or they were actually a shell. Each shell meant something. Every stone meant something. So they're beads, and so their stories were passed on and other things as well. And you weren't told a lot of the intricate parts of it, but you were just told the story, and it was for you to figure out where that story meant to you, what you were supposed to do with it. So it's strange, but it's true. It's great that we were able to get some of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine us without history?
Oh goodness. Well, we wouldn't be learning any lessons, I'll tell you that much. We'd keep repeating it over. Well, we're still repeating it.
Still repeating some of them.
Still repeating our lessons. Oh, for God's sakes. Why can't I learn?
Yanga, this is not a psychic show to where you can get answers. Just to let you know.
Who are we talking to?
I had a post here. Says Sarah, I'm from South Africa. My wife was told she will receive a lot of money this September, but she wasn't told where the money was coming from or when in September. She keeps dreaming about it. So maybe that's what she needs to do, is keep dreaming, because maybe she might get a piece of that in her dreams, because we do find that sometimes your dreams have answers that once in a while come true.
Yep. So
they can feed you.
A wish is a dream your heart makes when you're fast asleep.
Oh, this is interesting too. Yes, I'm wondering if I'm traveling while I'm awake. Shit gets strange.
Well, that's actually an interesting thing. And well, since we're going into Judaism, that's actually an interesting point. In Judaism, there are actually 5 parts of the soul. I'll only talk about 3 because the other 2 you start getting into Kabbalah, and it's very, very complicated, and I am not trained enough to speak on such matters. The first one, it's the nefesh, that is the life force that enters your body, which we would call our soul, our spirit. There is the ruach, that is your emotional state, your feelings, where the warm fuzzies come from, and then you have your neshama. Your neshama is your intellect, your mind, your thought. Now, in Judaism, it's a beautiful thing because every time you go to sleep at night, you travel. Your soul leaves, because sleeping is a fraction of death. That is the closest you will ever get to death while you're living, is when you're asleep. And the deeper the sleep, the closer you are to death. So what happens is that the soul detaches. Now, there's lots of things that they say, because another thing that Judaism, you could think, is the ghost you might be seeing might not be somebody dead.
Interesting.
Because their soul left them. Now, there's a joke. It's that your soul, well, not a joke, but there's a story that the soul runs up. It goes to God and it says, do you know what, like, if my soul leaves, do you know what LeKross did last night? I'm going to tell you what he did. He did this. He did that. You rat yourself out. Okay, you rat yourself out. You're just, and he did this and he did that. And you decide whether he should wake up tomorrow or not. I'm here waiting. You know, and then the thing is if you wake up, okay, the divine said, okay, you got another chance, but get it right today. So every time you wake up,
I love that.
That's another chance. But what's so interesting is, since it's so close to death, your soul will leave. Now, they believe that if you don't say certain prayers, that's when
something
another
else.
soul. Well, it's not so much like, because people get into the whole demons and angels, and I want to clarify this with the demons and angels in Judaism. They're not bad or evil. They're neutral. Right. They have no free will. They do what they're told. Some of them just have good jobs, and some of them have really shitty jobs. Okay. And that's what it boils down to with the whole demon and angel. So when people are like, that, you know, this demon and this and that, and no, he just has a shitty job. He doesn't feel anything for you. He doesn't hate you. He doesn't love you. He is completely neutral. And so is the angel. And that's what people can't grasp around, because the first thing they're thinking is, oh, my angel, my guardian angel. No, that's his job. His job is to guard you. He doesn't love you. He doesn't even like you. It's his job, you know. So I do definitely want to clarify that, you know.
That's fantastic.
I love that. I love that.
No, but that is perfect. That is a perfect way to explain it, because think about it this way. One of the things that I teach is that when you have intuition coming through, the way you can tell that it's intuition and not ego is because there's an absence of emotion.
Right. Yep.
That's how you know it's intuition, is because there's no emotion involved.
Right. And so so I clarify that to people, because I tell people, you know, it's like the whole thing with the devil. They're like, oh, the devil's evil. The devil is not evil. Devil fell from heaven. The devil did not fall from heaven. Okay. First off, the devil is Hasatan. Hasatan was an angel. He has a shitty job. His job is to tempt you. If I sit here and I go to you, take this, take this, take this, take this. That's my job. It doesn't make me bad. Who's the bad person? The one who takes it, not the one who gives it. So with that being said, so now I can move forward on to the whole thing with the soul. Okay. So basically what happens is when the body dies, okay, in Judaism, we're taught within a day we're buried, because not all of your soul has left, because you have 5 levels. There are 5 pieces to your soul. One of them stays behind. That's why they're against cremation, because they said you're dead, but you still, that part of your soul still feels. They don't believe in filling your body with, what is it they do?
Embalming fluid.
Embalming, because now you're taking longer to decompose, and that part of the soul cannot leave. So what happens is they bury right away. Now, if it does, now what happens is the longer the body stays attached to the physical world, the more aggressive it will become. Hence, like it is with the natives, it becomes very aggressive, to the point it becomes bitter, it becomes resentful, because it can't move on. And then there are some that they die and they don't want to let go of the physical world, because they love it here so much. And some of them don't move on because they feel they didn't do everything right that they were supposed to, and they have to make some sort of penance. Hence, that's where ghosts come from in Judaism. And so when they can't make right, that's when we start getting into the complications. I don't know if you know what a dibuk is.
No, what
a
is that?
dibuk is a spirit that will attach to an object.
Yes.
You ever heard about the dibuk box?
Yes, the
Oh
Dubik
yes,
box.
yes. I knew it sounded familiar to me.
That's a dibuk.
That's why.
And what happens is and since we believe everything is living, like I said, I don't want to be a rock, because a dibuk can attach itself to a rock. You're gonna be there forever, and the whole point that they attach themselves onto these things is for the mere purpose of being to be utilized and used so that they can let go and then go into the next life. But what happens when that object doesn't get used? And like they had said, the whole story about the dibuk box from the Holocaust, and it ended up like almost destroying families because the dibuk gets aggressive.
Right.
You can't have a rabbi come do an exorcism on a dibuk because he doesn't know what that is. It has to be a rabbi to come because the rabbi knows what's going on here. So so that's another thing, and that's where the whole stories of ghosts and losts and wandering souls.
And that's weird because they talk about that a lot. In fact, just the past few years they came out with the horror stories of the Dubik box, and how they say it, dibuk, like you said or whatever. But it's funny how one culture's item or belief is misconstrued into somebody else's. It was the same with the development of like the Ouija board, which was actually a talking planchette originally, and then they turned it into a board, which William fueled, and then it became Parker Brothers. Then it was sold as a toy, and the belief that everybody's like, oh, it's so evil, it's so evil, it's so evil. So it's like it depends on your view of it. It depends on your belief, and
I don't know.
That takes us everywhere, though, because there's so many different religions and faiths and cultures that were doomed and destroyed, because of other people's beliefs.
And also a dibuk, like everybody looks into possession.
Oh
a dibuk can attach itself to someone who is very weak and literally start controlling the body because they need a body. See, in our belief system, we don't have a body with a soul. We have a soul with a body. That's why when you see a ghost, it manifests as a human because it was a soul first. It already had that form before it came into the physical body. So we're not a soul with a body. We're not a body with a soul. We're a soul with a body. So what happens is when that soul needs something that it can enter. So it can enter into a weak person.
We are the ultimate parasite then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, but I have a question. I have to say something. I think that the intention, or whether it was going back to the Ouija board, I think the intention is what has changed, right? If in the mass production of a toy and the intention was to scare people or to make them believe that they're contacting the dead and that they're going to contact somebody or something, that was the intention set for the whole marketing, the whole making of it. So when you have that, it can create an instant portal for all of those things.
Right.
And see, I think I do understand, but
you are not a portal person.
Right, I'm not. But this is still one of those things that, like I said before, it's like because that was developed by the Chinese. So that was a culture that developed something. Then it came here, and then the Americans, we took it and did whatever with it.
They bastardized it.
Yeah. So
with their fucking intentions.
So it's one of the things, but it's not any different than like the Bible, because some people don't believe the Bible either, and they don't believe the words, and it's what we as human beings do. We take something that we don't understand, or we don't even want to try to understand, and we bastardize it.
Right. And the
Created
core
to our
thing,
thought process.
the core thing will always be the same thing. It's we fear what we don't understand. We fear it. And when you think of that process there, like even with the Ouija board, okay, one thing I do want to mention, does the Ouija board have power? I doubt it. We do. And everything we speak, we feel, everything comes out, everything goes into that universe. I believe in very karmic things. So if you're putting negative out there and you're fucking around with something you don't know, and then you get negative back,
you caused it.
You caused it. There's one common denominator, and that's you.
Right.
You know, and I think that's where a lot of these things happen and it's not that it was this demon that possessed the Ouija board or anything. No, you were fucking with something you didn't know. Sorry, my bad. You were messing around with something you didn't know.
Well, see, here's the thing. If you look at your, if you can even like start watching older movies, because some of the truths are in there. It's like, you know, back in the day, I'm talking way back, you know, cultures had seers. They had magicians. They had people that talked to the dead. That was their job.
Prophets.
You know, that's what they got. That's how they got paid.
Medicine men and women.
And these people were skilled this way. They were taught from somebody else how to do this. So for a mass production of something like the Ouija board, just to put out there, if you have no training, if you don't know what this is really for, you're messing with something you don't know.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a belief. You have to believe that thing's going to work and that the thing has power. If you don't believe that, you know what I mean? And I was always taught that the Ouija board, even though I know where it came from and so on and so forth, it was never the board that carried the power. It was the person running or controlling the board that had the power. And in most cases, you had to be a medium, a psychic, or somebody spiritual, really intently spiritual, to make anything like that work. And, you know, it's not shit. Do you know how many people used to take a little shot glass and put that on the table with just regular playing cards with letters and numbers? And the same thing. But that was done long before the board even came around.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, so
absolutely.
Karen says it's not belief, it's intention.
Right.
And you know what? That's part of it too. Yes, you are.
That's what I said. Wait, didn't I already talk about it?
Yeah. Pendulum responds to us. They can show us how we can use our consciousness.
I don't know. I'm not 100% with pendulums. I think that we can inflict whatever we want with the pendulum. I've watched people go, "Oh, I don't move it at all." I have watched people move a pendulum and then go and tell people as though it is something from the other.
On the science part of that, it's the electrical impulses in our wrist and our hands, fingers, and so on and so forth that can make that stuff move.
Right, but the thing is I think that there is the possibility of it coming through spirit to be brought out. However, it's the human that's the problem, because when they're moving it, I have a problem with that.
And that's why in Teddy's book, Think Outside the Paranormal Box, you were actually, you take a banana hanger, you put the pendulum on the banana hanger, then you start asking questions.
Right.
Because the human interaction is gone out of it. If it moves, then okay, so with it. Record it and send it to me. You know, because I'd love to see it. You know, it's the same with the dowsing rods.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do believe says when we were talking. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just know that Doc can't be seen, so everybody on Facebook can see. But Doc said, I've regularly been seen in the houses of friends and family when I'm traveling during sleep or waking. It was to go back to what we were talking about during dreams.
Yeah.
My sister does too.
I've literally had 3 people come to me within less than a week and tell me that I have been in their dreams or I have been with them during the night.
Right.
2 people in the same day, even.
Okay, LeKross, what were you going to say?
What I was going to say is that our human minds are powerful, and sometimes what we want, whether we're supposed to get it or not, or we see what we want. Like I love tarot cards because tarot cards, we could all have the same cards and we can all see different things. The reason we see different things is this is what our mind needs to see. because I always believe we have all the answers in us. We have it. It's a matter of when is it awakened? When are we aware of it? So if I sit there and I do a spread of tarot cards, I already know what it is. That's why when I read it and I'm like, damn, yeah, I should really listen to that. I already knew.
Right.
It's already there. But the whole point is sometimes we need that smack in the face, whether it's a tarot card or life circumstances, to say, wake up. You already know this. What are you doing?
Jesus.
Get your shit together. So I think that's we're very powerful in our minds, that we will create and build this whole thing that we want, whether it's good for us or not.
Yes, Robert.
Well,
and then believe it came from God.
Right. Well, what is that? It's like 7 to 9% of our brain is what we actually use. I mean, and that's it.
Yeah.
There is a strong belief that, especially with the Egyptians and those cultures, they used more of their brain. They were so far ahead of us in intelligence that even the magic was real back then, that all of this stuff was real, and that we've dumbified over the years.
Yeah, pretty much. Instead of evolving, we're de-evolving the other way. Yeah.
Well, but yes, we devolved. But think about it this way. I mean, we also supposedly lived for hundreds of years when we were humans, and as we have changed and things, we are spending less time each incarnation on this planet or other planets, right?
I just think it's weird. I mean, we as people, as in humans, we think about so many things, especially fantasy. Fantasy was one of the biggest things with people. And, if you don't have that shutoff valve to know, hey, this is real, this is a fantasy, this is real, this is fantasy. Right. It's said that somewhere within that fantasy and that shutoff valve, there's magic that we learned to shut it off, and now we don't know how to turn it back on.
Right.
Some of us know how to.
That wouldn't surprise us. That wouldn't surprise us. It would surprise me.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because in Judaism, there was back then we were the people of miracles. That 2,000 years ago, and it was so funny. I actually had a debate with a Christian, and they were like, "Well, why didn't you believe in Jesus?" And I'm like, "Because you're talking about a people who are the people of miracles. So Jesus walking on the water wasn't a big deal. Everybody walked on it. They were the people of miracles. Jesus healing the sick wasn't a big deal to us because it was a commonplace. So why would we sit here and take this guy and say he's our Messiah when everybody was doing it?" So it was, and it's so sad because you look at that, and we're talking scriptures also. A lot of people don't understand what they read is such a watered down version of what was actually written, because you cannot translate the language.
Yes, some of that was translated incorrectly.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely, 100%.
I mean, they have literally, it was humans writing these things and putting in and taking out. I mean, literally,
it was a comic book from way back when, in some sense. It was, you know what I mean? It really was. It was literature. It was just something to read to pass the time.
Maybe it was a soap opera.
Maybe it was a soap opera printed.
But if you ever noticed, I mean, the interesting thing of the Hebrew language is it's not just a language and a phonetic language. It's numbers.
Right.
It's gematria. And a lot of the things that were prophesied, if you did the numbers right, you'd see, oh my God, that's actually happened. And it said when it was going to happen and things like that. There's the 7 levels of understanding, which you go from basic to Kabbalah. And then there's also the translation, which a Jew translated it to King James. What was that? Yes, I'm looking into the. There's more letters if you like, so English can't handle the content. Yeah, exactly. That makes total sense.
So what I was saying is Constantinople, I mean, they have shown that there are references in the Bible of reincarnation. If you think about it, there is a passage that relates to a person, and they're saying, you knew him, he formerly was known as Moses.
Right.
I mean, this is they speak of reincarnation in the Bible. They just don't like bring it up and make sure. But there's only 2 references still.
Well,
left in
one
the
of them
Bible because they
is
took
that
out reincarnation.
they
during
didn't. They didn't take it out. They didn't take. It's there. It's just not. It's not. Okay.
No,
we're
they talked about it specifically that you can live again. That those were teachings that
but
that's
that's what I'm trying to explain.
Right.
We're given 120 years. Okay. After the fall, we were given 120 years. What happens when somebody only lives 60? They still got 60 more to go. What happens when somebody only lives 5? They still have 115 to go. So what happens? They have to come back until they have reached that 120 max. And then it's an option as to whether you want to come back. That's actually in the Old Testament. It's in Genesis. We are given 120 years. That's what I was trying to explain. It's there. It's right under your nose. It's just people don't know how to interpret it. It's right there. So, and a lot of it is like I said, and people don't understand. Moses didn't just write the Torah. He wrote the 5 books of Moses. He actually wrote a commentary. That's what people don't want to read, because that's where you get your mind all screwed up. So, but and there's a reason for it, and that's why, if you notice in Judaism, we only follow the 5 books of Moses. That's it.
Fucking Robert.
Yep. He died at 50, so he'll be back for another 70.
And he better be as good as he was.
Love Prince. Oh God, he's so amazing.
Karen says reincarnation is a new thing after the fall.
Yeah. So I guess, but like I said, a lot of that is, it's all misinterpretation. It's all, and once again, people read what they want to read, and they see what they want to see, and they believe what they want to believe.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
And that's why I think it's interesting when you look at different cultures and their belief systems. There are some common threads.
Oh yeah.
There are some things that are very much the same. They're just described differently.
Yep.
But there are some things and some faiths that are like way out there, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Scientology.
There you go, Scientology. So there's a lot of stuff.
No
that
offense to
sometimes
anybody who's Scientologist.
But there is.
But if I want sci-fi to become my religion, I'll follow you.
Look at some of these other. What did they call them? They called them. Texas had one a few years back. Where they follow a leader. Yes, the occult. The cults, yes. And they follow a belief of somebody that may just be loony, which we've known, but it's their belief system that other people are comfortable enough to take on.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
But I think it's people like that just prey on people who are uneducated.
Yeah.
In the sense they're ignorant, they're scared, they want something to believe in, they want acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people fall for these things all the time, day in and day out.
You have to. There's LeKross for years, especially in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. There was the whole belief of aliens, and so people were worshiping alien life forms instead of the gods that most of us knew already. I mean, there was that whole belief. Oh, they're going to come down and save us. I've talked to this alien and this version of that alien, and I'm like, God, what are you guys smoking?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, bring the peyote over here. If that's
exactly.
It's like, hey,
peyote.
I want a little bit of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to an alien.
Yeah,
I just don't want to get probed.
What about? Right, no
probing.
According to Cookie, they don't do that anymore.
Can we all wear signs?
Okay, all right.
Well, they're not supposed to anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'll know.
Drink the Kool-Aid, ignore the almond smell.
Yeah, there you go. But all right, so guys, if you've got any questions in there, let's get these questions in. It looks like we have just about 25 minutes, but I'd like to get to some of these questions for LeKross or us, so on and so forth down the line. But I'm going to go up to Cindy because I want to kind of probe her mind a little.
You want to probe me, Daddy?
So. Cindy being Wiccan, having the faith within the pagan culture, she talks about on many occasions. You've talked about the gods and the spirits and what you talk to or who you talk to, I should say.
Who I talk to?
Right. So kind of explain a little bit of what your belief system is with stuff like that, and with your pagan culture, I guess.
So
you know what I mean?
A pagan believes in we're not monotheistic, right? We're polytheistic. So the thing is that I grew up, I was brought up, I was never baptized or anything like that. However, I always had, like, my mom was Methodist, and so I always went to the Methodist church. To this day, I still love going to midnight mass on Christmas Eve. It's a beautiful ceremony. My aunt and uncle used to take us to Baptist churches and all these things when I was young. I remember being 14 and nobody could answer the questions that I had. So I left the church and organized Western religion. But the thing is I always had a connection to whatever that was out there, right? So my thought process has evolved over the years. Like, I always believed that Jesus, God, whatever, Mother Mary, were still deities, right? However, they were just a deity of Western culture, right? As my Egyptian side, Isis is my mother, right? But then I also have Hecate, right? And I also have Pele from the Hawaiian culture. I'm very eclectic in what I believe. However, on Tarot Tuesdays, I literally have done my tarot readings and stuff. But what I do is I start it off, I look in my comments, and then we do what I call roll call. Roll call is who's in the house.
Right.
And it's literally everybody has come to see me. I mean, I have ancient gods and goddesses that come in from ancient Assyria. You know, I have some that I don't understand who they are because there are no words or names that I can put in human terms to tell who they are. I have Jesus here. I have the Morrigan. I have Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter. I have all of them that way. I have Norse gods. I have Egyptian gods. I have Buddha, you know. So it's a huge collective mix. But one of the things that they have talked to me about, and one of the reasons that they all don't mind coming to me, is because I have all put them basically on the same level playing field, right? That I believe that they all have and serve their own purposes. Mohammed was here last Tuesday. Was it last Tuesday or the Tuesday before? I mean, so I have things that I don't know or understand, and I just allow them to come through, right? With knowledge and understanding that only the highest and the best is allowed here. It's only the highest and the best that's allowed here. And I have aliens that come and visit, not just one race. I have this plethora, and they like to come in through the ceiling because they just like to freak me out. But it's just I have a bunch of people. So when I think of religion or a thing like that, it's just this beauty of differences that are all the same.
Yeah.
That's funny because
a big collective.
A lot of people look at,
and that's what I call us.
A lot now. Christianity is technically a monotheistic religion, and so is Judaism. But I do always want to make a point to people. God, told the Jews, "You shall have no other gods before me." That's all he said. Now, why would he say that if he didn't feel that there were other beings in existence?
Exactly.
The only
reason
is because
you had to convert the pagans.
Right. So, but then it did not know because they didn't want to. They didn't want to. You don't see. Okay. When has a Jew ever knocked on your door and say, "I want to give you the good news"? I'll wait.
No.
It never happened. It never happens because they're not out to convert anybody. The whole thing was because they knew that all these other cultures had their gods, but if you're going to follow this path, then this is the God you have to choose. He just said, just don't put them before me. I didn't say you couldn't hang with them. I didn't say you couldn't talk to them. I just said, don't put them first. That's all I said. And I think when and once again, mistranslation, people are saying, oh, it's a monotheistic religion. God said, you're an idol worshiper. No. He just said, don't put anything before me. That's all he asked.
Well, just take that real quick and think about Greek gods.
Think about what?
Greek gods.
Oh, Greek gods. Yes.
Okay. So we all know who the main man was, right?
Zeus.
You know? So.
And Hera.
Yeah, Hera. There you go. So, I mean, there's so many different gods out there. And they all have, well, like for myself, my belief with my indigenous culture, and then my, the pagan culture with the Wicca side, with having that, different gods for different things. You know what I mean? We're very eclectic, just like Cindy. I'm able to call on whoever I need at the time, but the indigenous people were the same way. They called on the gods that they needed for what was happening in their life at that time.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
The sky mother.
So the Eastern religion of that to the Western is pretty much is pretty much on this level. But Zeus never said that I'm the only God. In fact, when the transcendent of other gods like Jesus and and all that stuff, they just went back to the mountain and they sat back there and they're still sitting there. They're still sitting there. Going, okay, let's let him fuck up.
Yeah.
All those togas.
I'll be here all week. I'll just with the popcorn.
Yeah, I'm here till Thursday. Try the veal.
Dr. Mystical cracks me up. He's like, all those togas. Hello, Hera. Come on, listen. Think about it this way. I mean, I'm just going to go a little off topic because it's literally like polyamory has been on my brain lately.
Uh-oh.
So you think back to the Greeks and the Romans.
Jesus. Yep.
They totally did not believe in mono relationships, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
and same sex things were a thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So,
I know. I
I
believe
mean-
that culture. Trust me.
But the thing is that it was not frowned upon until Christianity came around.
Okay,
and
now
said,
note what you just said. You
men
didn't say
shall
Judaism,
not
you said
marry.
Christianity, and that's for
I
a
said
reason.
Christianity.
Exactly. Because
men
then
shall not
Judaism.
lie in bed with
it's-
men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
And-
you judgmental bitches.
And
Get the fuck out of over yourself.
In Judaism, if you can afford more than one wife, you can have more than one wife, but you better afford it.
That's
you better
right.
be able to take care of her. You know, it's that was a very common practice.
Tip your waitress.
On the way out.
But be that as it may, I mean, I think all of them come to the whole same conclusion. We all die and there's something else.
Right.
And
right.
that's what I think is fascinating. They all have a creation story. They all have a flood story. They all have a death story. They all have a next life story. And that's
and they all
have
let's
a
add to
hero-
that. They all have
a hero quest. They all have there's so much and morals to the stories. And
there's always a bad and there's always a good. There's always something in there. And that's what I like about people that, want to put one faith against another. You think you're any different?
Right.
Everybody has that. Like I said before, when you sit down and you study theology, one of the main things that you're going to learn is that there is a thread between all of them that makes them the same.
Right.
It's the same thread
And
that we
that's what
still
you walk
have
away
through
with.
each and every one of us to this day. Right?
Go
We're
and
the
be a
collective, we are
demonologist.
one.
Go be a priest. Do whatever you want to do. All I ask is you really do your research and educate yourself, because there is so much out there that people don't understand.
Just
but I can
stop
tell you, I'm
judging each other. That's what I say.
See,
Stop
on my
judging each
end,
other.
on my end, with having both cultures that I've looked into my whole life,
They all
knowing,
have a zombie story. Bring out your
the
dead.
paganism
Bring-
and the indigenous people versus the Eastern philosophy of, when we came over from England or wherever the hell we came from, or Ireland or the Netherlands, the belief systems, even though
Africa. We
they're
all came from Africa.
but even though they're all different, they're all the same.
Yeah.
We have all of those things. I mean, I love the fact the
Ancient
Egyptians, they believed in aliens. They believed that there was something else besides themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's pretty
look at-
arrogant for us to think we're it. That's so freaking arrogant.
Well, look at the indigenous people that say, yeah, Bigfoot's real. We have their area, we have our area. We always had a way of like something of saying, hey, you don't go over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's right. I love what Doc says. He says, and that thread is ancient aliens.
Even though
That's
now
right,
today
Doc.
they're saying some of it, like the Egyptian stuff, they said they're saying now that it wasn't aliens that built the pyramids. They're saying it was other things now. So start looking that up, folks. Chanel said,
yeah,
so
they're
did
saying
they?
that it is possible that they did it by themselves. Humans
It
did
is
it.
possible. Yeah. So did they?
So did they shoot the arrow
So
splitting
did
the
they
races
shot
and
the arrow splitting
languages?
the races and languages?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I wasn't there.
I honestly, I was just about to say that. Like, I wasn't there. I don't know.
If I was there back then, I was either drinking something that I shouldn't have, or smoking something that I shouldn't have.
I was probably off in some corner trying to figure out what am I going to wear today. That looks pretty.
Or
nice.
I was in one of the Greek. I was in one of the Greek rooms with all the different.
Yeah.
Everybody jump in a big pile. I love that word. Anyway,
sounds close to corgi.
It's a dog. Anyway,
no corgis.
No corgis. No wargies.
Oh no. Oh man, bad image. Leave
the little heart butt buddies alone.
But coming back and steering us back here for the last couple minutes of the show, I love when people shun other people because of their beliefs. I love it because I love to go right up to them and say, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
One is you. You used to see those. You used to see those bumper stickers. You used to see those bumper stickers that said, "My karma ran over your dogma." Or
exactly. I fucking love that one.
Right.
It's like, my witch turned your god into a bowl of soup.
Right.
I mean, there was stuff like that. It's like, oh, he turned him into a frog.
To me, it's always been, I like to argue with them only because I like to piss
debating
them
is
off.
Fun. Yeah,
and because the whole thing is that I sat there and my end of the thing is like I said, my people have studied this for thousands and thousands of years, which you listen to. They've studied. That's all they do is study from morning till night. But you figured it out in 3 years at a seminary.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
did you see Robert's comment?
Yes, that was hysterical. I loved it.
Don't forget the big grape leaf. The real big grape leaf.
I want to be rubbed up and down with the oil. Forget it. That's like hot massage porn right there.
But we started at the show talking about superstitions, about things that are said, and there's just so many things out there that I think people need to stop belittling each other and start learning from each other.
Right.
And
I agree. That's exactly
taking
why
in,
I think they all come to me, right?
Yeah, take into the cultures.
Learn.
I
allow.
I mean, I for the first time in the past, and it's not because I'm racist, but I had never hung out with a Puerto Rican before. So I had no idea what Christmas was to them until my friend Frankie said, "Oh, you gotta come have coquito," and I'm like, "What?" And I get over there and I have coquito, and I'm just like, "This is the greatest fucking drink in the world,"
Which I can make that banging. Just letting you know.
Okay, well, I want some, but it's like there's so many things that they do, and food. Oh my God, you'll never go hungry. Never go hungry.
Yep.
I mean,
I was kind of bummed out when I figured out I was Jewish because I always grew up doing the Christmas thing.
I hate hummus.
Shit. Yeah, I'm not
I
a big.
love
It's okay. It's okay. I don't think if I don't. I eat gefilte fish once in a while.
Coquito monster.
Yeah. But I still actually hold on to those traditions, even though I'm
right. But it's funny.
They're beautiful. Yeah.
What I was going to say is that hanging out with them, and that was Frank and Tatiana, was that their belief system with seers, with people that could tell the future.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. It was very, very enlightening. Yeah. And when you can sit down with them and actually, tell them something that and they're like, "How do you know that?"
Right.
Yeah.
And
somebody that has appreciation for what you can do, can do.
Right. But there was no backlash. There was no nothing. It was just, "Hey, we're welcoming you here to our home.
Right.
We're gonna get you shit faced on something you've never had before, and we're gonna feed you so you're fat. And I'm like, where were you? Where were you 50 years ago? But but learning that stuff is great, because even when you go to like the reservation to your family there, or you know, it's like I've never been to the Netherlands, but I have family there, and I would love to know what their culture is and what they believe and what they eat. And I don't do like I have fear of their sausages and some of their meats because of where it actually came from.
Right.
And I'm not even going to get into it because it's disgusting to me, but they don't waste anything over there.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
Okay. So
you know what
I will eat American sausage versus their sausage over there. Sorry.
So
but
funny.
I love old fairy tales. I love old just old things that people say. Like we were raised with, hey, I got that a lot when I went, Teddy, you behave yourself or I'll slap you around like that, spit on a door handle. And you're like, what?
Ew.
What? But the just little sayings that are said to you when you're growing up, and you wondered, like I said, when I opened up saying they throw salt over their shoulder. Why? Don't you want to know why?
Right.
It's bad luck. It's bad luck. You don't walk underneath the ladder. You don't let a black cat cross in front of you. Some of us believe that's good luck.
Yeah.
With the black cat.
Yes. I have my black kitty that crosses my path all day, every day. And I'm like, thank you, buddy.
That whole thing where everybody's like, oh, Friday the 13th is bad. But guess what? Friday the 13th is awesome for me. It's Saturday the 14th. That's terrible for me.
Right. Did you guys ever see that movie? Saturday the 14th.
I think the beauty of it all is that you end up realizing how much history is preserved. It's just preservation. And each culture had so much to preserve and to give. The problem is if everybody would have been so open to embrace it, we wouldn't have had all the genocides that we did,
Right.
So there wouldn't have been a Holocaust. There wouldn't have been genocide of the indigenous people. None of that would have happened if they would have just embraced it. When they came over, they saw that my people would bathe 3 times a day. They called the savages because we bathed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. It's just very sad. But instead of embracing it, which what they end up doing, years later, they ended up embracing it because they realized for hygienic reasons, infections and this and that, they had to start washing their hands. They had to start cleaning
and
themselves.
Their feet.
Exactly.
And their feet.
And they could. It was. You knew this 400 years ago. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So
yeah. It shows you where we lack in intelligence sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
and
like why we waited so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this, but Greek baths, they knew what they were doing over there.
Yep. They knew hygiene was everything.
It certainly was. So Karen says a lot of people now are, I got to put it so
recommending.
It keeps moving on me. A lot of people are recommending not meditating with the third eye anymore. Instead, use fourth eye, or others call it the fish eye. Fish eye.
Way
is the center first. There is all with see. I've never.
Where is all of this with you guys? Oh, I actually haven't heard of this, to be honest.
Me neither.
So I've not heard of the fourth eye or Magyar. You mentioned it earlier, and I have to research, to be honest. I'm putting it on my list right now.
I love it, Robert. It's like, oh, they're not stinky. Let's get rid of them, dumbasses. There are several religious institutions I have tried. Mormons scare me.
Yeah. Anybody who's got to knock on somebody else's door, I think, is rude. That's it. I don't care what you are. If you're knocking on people's door, you're rude. It's the middle of the day. It's a Saturday. They were probably partying the night before. You're rude. Yeah. Don't show up. They probably have a hangover.
Well,
I mean, they stopped coming to my house.
Of course, that's where LeKross goes to. It's a hangover. You don't go when somebody's on a hangover.
No, they stopped coming because the last time they ended up coming to my house, they knocked in. I'm Jewish. And they're like, well, Jesus was Jewish. Well, good. You can keep him. Can I go to bed now?
I literally, when I lived at my parents' house with my daughter, what the heck are they called that would come to the house all the time?
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes, thank you. The Jehovah's Witnesses would come, And it drove me crazy. And I just had it. I was a witch at the time. So instead, what did I do? Because I knew they had a little list with the houses and who had what. So I said, listen, I'm a devil worshiper. They're like, what? I said, yes, I worship Satan. They're like, what? and they're like, can we please come in and talk to you? I said, no, I really enjoy Satan and I enjoy what I do. Please don't come back. They literally have never come back in probably, my daughter had to have been a couple years old. This is 28 years. That list is fervently axed for my parents' house.
Yep. Yeah. I looked at them. I said, do you know how hard I worked for these demons? Do you have any idea how hard I worked for these?
I had a friend, college. His and it was the best story in the world. Was the way he got them to stop coming was he took a prosthetic arm, and he actually wrapped stuff around it so it looked like it was raw meat. So when they came to the door, he put some in his mouth and the blood, and he goes, "I'm a cannibal. I don't believe in your shit, but I do need some more hors d'oeuvres." You know.
Oh my God. I'd be running at that point and be like, okay, so the other thing, I live in Wayne County, New York. Guess where Mormonism started?
There? Yeah, right down the street from you.
Called Palmyra, New York.
Oh.
It's about 20 minutes away south of me. And that's where the hill is and everything, where I literally live in Mormon country, where John Smith and Hilkamora is, where he supposedly got all this information. However, it was a story that was written, and John Smith took it and made it a religion as well. Just so you guys know, the more you know. Now,
the other good part about that.
What's that?
What else is in Palmyra, New York?
Satanism.
Satanism?
They live side by side.
Oh, wow. That is something else.
Yes.
That is something. I'll hang with the Satanists any day. I'll hang with one any day. They're so shitted on. It's sad.
Talk to Kenny Biddle. He'll tell you, because he's met several and they're fantastic people.
Yeah, they're amazing people. They what people think they are, it's not what they are. They're not like doing what everybody.
Well, look at witches. They think witches are the same way. They did that with the witches. They burned them to the stake. They wasted all those stakes. Jesus.
Hi, Jehovah blessed me with lots of boobs. No, it's funny. No, but seriously, so the thing is there was a sect of the Mormons who moved out to Salt Lake, and then from there they decided that it was okay for men, because you guys have to understand that Mormonism is really anti-woman. Right. It is all pro-man and what man can do and what man can say, not what woman can do and woman can say. Listen, if you want a divorce, you have to ask the elders. A woman cannot just divorce a man, and she has no say. If the husband says, I'm not beating her, she's not allowed to get a divorce, the elders then go, oh, well, we have to listen to what he said. You're not being beaten. And then she ends up dead.
Yeah.
But that's the point. Is
that they don't shave
the woman
either.
has no say. And not only that, the woman has to listen to these male elders. And I literally cringe when these women tell me stories.
I've heard stories where that if they thought that you were promiscuous or that you weren't a virgin, they would actually check you. They had the right to go in your home and stick their hands somewhere where they shouldn't be sticking them.
Oh, hell no.
It's really all about men keeping women down. That's what that religion is all about.
But
literally.
if they really checked the civilizations long before that, there was plenty of female races that were in charge and the men were not. Your indigenous people.
Oh, yeah.
Your indigenous people, the women were in charge in a lot of those cultures.
Yep, matriarchal society.
Exactly.
Matriarchal society. There was you had a chief, But he didn't make no decisions. He would look at the ladies, and
did
if
not.
they say yes, yes. If they say no, they said
So
no.
your
No,
hill
and
people,
that's
your
the
hill
thing,
people were the
is
same way.
To this day, our Native American culture is still matriarchal run. A chief is not just because he was born into it. No, the women are the ones that make the decisions.
Yeah, and your hill people are the same. It's the female. Now you look at your Jesus, some of your Italian families. It's the female that runs the household. It's not the men.
Yep.
You know.
No.
And it's really funny how certain things are certain ways, but as a culture today, 2021, and now soon going to be 2022. What did Barry say?
Barry was saying they supposedly don't drink spirits either. No, they can't drink coffee either. They're not allowed to have caffeine. They're not allowed to drink alcohol.
And some sugars. They're not allowed to have some things with sugar in them either.
I think it's also.
Well, no wonder they're so miserable.
Yeah. It'd be like being a Tyrannosaurus Rex and having small arms and not being able to do anything.
Oh, man.
I live in a house where human and baby sacrifice and every kind of horror was done. That's what Mist of My Magnetic Dance is about, healing that.
Oh, interesting.
Wow. Egypt was a female-led society until the pharaohs.
Most every place was matriarchal run until,
But I can't say that all of the cultures that were ran by man was bad, because some of the female cultures, like the Amazon tribes, were very tough on men. They were used as breeders and breeders only, and they were kept in cages, and they were beat, and they
Sandy?
were, so there was a lot of things.
Listen, you guys, we can still be praying mantises if you'd like us to be.
No. I like being two spirits. I'm good. I like being two spirits. I'll stay there.
Did you guys know a female praying mantis can kill a snake?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not realize that until recently. I mean, I knew they tore the head off of their partner as they were being.
Oh no, they're aggressive.
They will eat anything. They will.
They will. I thought that was amazing. Like an insect.
True story.
Snake.
True story. True story.
Yes, Ishtar was here actually, Karen. I had Ishtar here, and I'm not familiar with her or her history.
Did you know
that
that
I had Ishtar here?
Cleopatra and some of those other gods, Cleopatra and some of those other queens, I guess I should say, not gods, but queens.
Not gods.
They did a lot with their male servants. There was cases where they would make them, and sorry about the language, make them jerk off in great big copper bowls or gold bowls, and they would use that as moisturizer.
Oh, I believe it.
And
I mean,
it's sorry, that some of this.
It does have a lot of protein.
Well, it does, but it's just, I'm sorry that we've gone into that whole little thing, but
I like
it is a good. But it's just, I think
Patreon.
There you go. But going over all this, it's just funny. Like, I wanted this to just be about the superstitions and the beliefs of that, and we got into everything else. But you know what? I'm okay with that. We had a good talk. We've discussed a lot of things here tonight, and I think it's best that all of us remember that we will continually learn.
Yeah.
We have to remember that we are students of life. We are students of the earth. And don't ever think that you know everything, because something will change in a split second.
Yep.
It always does.
It's literally, it's about not being judgmental, right? It's being inclusive. It's all about inclusivity. And it doesn't matter whether it's religion or sex or gender or anything else. It's about inclusivity, and it's about respect.
Hey, and every corner,
respect each other. Just love each other, because that's what
just
comes down to.
Teddy says, "Jump in a big pile. Why not?" No, anyways,
it's just about loving each other. It's all about love. That's all this whole entire thing is about, is love.
But that's how the human race is going. That's how the human race is going to go to the next level. Is we're gonna have to embrace each other.
Yeah.
To move on to the next level, because there's no other place to go. I mean, as of right now, if you look at the things from the past, We know we've been lied to by the government. We know that there's things from cultures in the past that we're just now finding out that we should have known 500-600 years ago.
Yep.
Like LeKross was saying, and but there's so much that we still have to learn.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be from educators. It can be from your grandparents. It can be from your aunts or your uncles. And it can also be from your nephews and your nieces because they know things as well. You can see storytellers all the time.
Yeah.
If you go to your fairs, your carnivals and stuff like that, they are still out there.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to find yourself a gypsy storyteller. Oh, my God. And if you're an adult, they will give you some good shit to drink to go with it.
Yep, that's like the jibaros. The jibaros in
that's
Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah.
In Puerto Rico, they have the jibaros. They're like
Right,
the town
Robert.
criers, and what they do is they sing and they tell stories. My grandfather was one, and that's how the stories would get told through song.
Yeah.
You have to learn and just learn any way you can, but just remember that everybody brings something to the table, and I say that over and over and over again here on Paratalk Radio. I don't think I've said it more times than I want to. So, LeKross, thank you so much for coming on here. We miss you. We miss you so much. We love you. You are so special to us.
Thank you.
I hope you will always stay in touch with us and always be a part of the family.
LeKross, are you still with Hollis on Rainbow Soul though?
Yeah, I do help Hollis with Rainbow Soul.
Okay.
Right now, I'm in a journey of learning. And it's not that I'll never do interviews again. It's just I need right now for my own spiritual path. I need to learn, and I'm just sharing what I'm learning. I'm learning.
The teacher is again the student.
Yeah, and and leave it open for other people to tell me things because I don't want to be closed off. I don't want to live a life that's closed off.
Well, you're a part of this family, just so you know. You're never losing us. I mean, we're not going to let you go. We're not going to let you go.
No, we got we're holding on.
Yeah, but it's and once I don't know what direction it'll go. I don't know what any direction is. Like you said, it's always changing. So today it could be this, and next week.
All you gotta do is listen
we've got to find time to get together and hug because we didn't get to hug that one day.
I know. I was so upset.
Shut up! You guys met in real life already.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to.
Yeah, but we had to stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah, because I actually ended up with the Delta strand.
Oh no!
Yeah. So, and I'm like,
I'm glad that
I said, but I didn't want him to think that he came and nobody would come see.
Yeah,
so
he was just saying, "You smell. You stay over there."
I said because I said it would be terrible. It was only like an hour and a half for me, or 2 hours. It was like 2 hours for me, and I'm like, no, I got to make the trip. So my wife and I made the trip, and yeah, I mean, I said even though I can only say hi from here, but I think I missed you by 2 days. Yeah, because I came on a Thursday, or wait, no, I don't know what day I came, but
where were you?
You were coming 2 days later. Yeah, Gettysburg.
I was in Gettysburg. I was there a couple days earlier than you, remember?
Oh, that's right.
So I missed you by 2 days.
Hello, Christina. Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
So.
And he's so small. I'm looking at him it's like, oh, it's like if I was to pick him up, I'd feel bad because I'd probably break something on him.
I said, you know what? I just look taller on camera. I said, I'm only 5'3", but I got 6 foot personality. Okay.
Bye, Karen. Thank you for stopping by, Karen. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So long as you got big personality, that's most important.
Hey, I got a lot of big things. That belly
and I tell my
way
wife, I just got to be this tall to ride that ride. Okay, I'm this tall.
That's right.
So,
well, we really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.
This was important to me and important to Cindy that we got to see you. So,
yeah,
just stay in touch.
We're
with us,
gonna see
please,
each other IRL one of these days.
Oh yeah, and keep me posted when you are going to be in Gettysburg because I mean I still want to head up there. I still want to hang out, all that kind of fun stuff.
Cool.
I don't know, maybe get in on one of those things.
Ghost tours.
Yes. So
yeah.
Cool. You should really write a book, by the way, with the amount of information that you have.
People always tell me that, and people have been telling me that for years.
You should.
Since my
there you
20s.
go, friend.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what
when
I call
the time
it.
is right, right? That's how I feel.
Yeah.
When the time is right.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes, Chanel, you need to come to Gettysburg too, my friend.
There you go. All right. LeKross, Love you, and thank you so much for being on here.
Love you guys.
Exactly. So,
Love you.
What a great show. We didn't stick to the script, but it was still.
Up that,
yeah.
Do you have anything coming up that you're really like looking forward to? Any events or anything like that?
I'm starting drag shows again at O'Halloran's.
Really?
But I'm not performing. I'm in retirement for a little bit. But yeah, I'm starting drag shows up. Just working, learning. That's it. Nothing major, nothing new, but I'm around. I'm like mold on bread. You could get rid of me, but I'll be back. So.
That's hysterical.
That's terrible at the same time.
That's mold is penicillin. Okay,
it's terrible. It's hysterical and terrible. No.
It's also on the side of a tree to tell us where north is. So come on, it's
it's got its purpose.
Some of it's a healer. So yeah, we get it. All right, Cindy. Actually, next Monday, guys, you saw this gentleman. He's going to be joining us. You saw him at Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I did an interview with him. That's Mr. Ron Iacovetti. He's going to be joining us here next Monday. It's going to be one of those Teddy scratching. What did he just say? What does that mean? This guy has got a great language, and he's very, very intelligent. And it's going to be fun to talk to him about ghosts, paranormal equipment, and all that good shit. Yeah, and you know where I stand, on some of this stuff, and he respects that, and I respect him for his as well. So,
awesome.
So Ron Iacovetti will be here. That's an interesting last name. Isn't it? Iacovetti.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's like a Jewish Italian name.
Yeah.
All right, Cindy, what you got coming up this week?
So tomorrow is Tarot Tuesday,
Taco Tuesday.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Taco Tuesday, as Teddy calls it.
I think I'm going to make
Tarot
tacos
Tuesday
tomorrow.
Ooh, yum. You
Just
better
for
share
you.
a picture with me. Awesome. I should make some tacos too, to be honest. The boys would love that. So Tarot Tuesday on my YouTube channel, The Psychic Cindy. Come see us, have fun. And I have to do a live to catch up on my my all signs readings. I was going to be doing them on Thursday. I wanted to do them on Sunday, but I had the second dose of the vaccine on Thursday. So between trying to take care of Jet, who had his the same day as me, Jet was much sicker than I, but I did not get to be.
I know why that is.
What? You know I would.
Because he's a little bastard.
No, he's not, you brat. No, he just was not feeling well.
See, when you ain't good to your mama, you get sick.
See, the cuckoo. The cuckoo's coming.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna tell him that.
He's coming in sickness form. He's gonna sneak through your nasal passages and then pop out of your stomach like an alien. Hello, my mommy. Hello, my daddy.
So wild. Oh my gosh, you're too wild tonight.
Yeah.
But yes, just keep an eye out for my all signs readings. I'll probably try and catch up on Wednesday to do from Sunday to Saturday, and then Sunday we'll start the new.
And for me, which is really cool, and I need to get your little white butt here to get those herbs. You need to.
Oh
come,
my God! Yes, I know.
You need to
when
get
are
here
you
and get
available,
these
honey?
You just let me know and I'll make myself available because they need to be picked. It's harvest time because they're going to start going away here really soon.
Yes, I do.
So, and I have more. I mean, you can have as much white sage as you want. I've got a lot there. So
I will take
white
it
sage
all.
is very. Well, you ain't getting all of it.
Well, all that you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because
stuff
yes,
like that.
I guess it's hard to find right now.
It is. I always grow between 3 and 4 plants, but it always shoots off, so I always get extra, so which is great. And so actually for me, all I've got, I'm doing a lot of work. Our leagues are going to be opening for the bowling center here really soon, so I'm really excited about that. I've been working my ass off. Everybody knows that I've been working 70 hours a
have
week
been
at this new job.
working so much.
Yes, and we are going to be investigating the bowling alley, the lanes, as well as the new alleyway building, because we are finding some really weird shit happening.
Ooh.
Don't tell me.
I'm not telling you. So, but we're going to be doing that. And Buddy the Bigfoot, you guys. Buddy is he's getting out there. We're getting more people saying they love him. They want him for things. So, we also have a brand new location, a brand new state that Buddy is going to. Are you ready? Drum roll. Missouri. He is going to Missouri. We are going to have a Buddy the Bigfoot in Missouri.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yes. And we can thank T-Roy and Kevin for that, because they are going to help us get Buddy established down there. So,
nice.
That's awesome.
Awesome. So he's going to be available in 5 states, and we're not going to be happy till we're in like 10 to 15
So we
states.
have a Buddy the Bigfoot takeover.
That's right. Ready. Buddy the Bigfoot for president in 2025.
There you go.
No, not 2025.
I don't know. I just threw that out there. I know I'm a kook.
2024.
I'm okay with that. Okay. But other than that, big dance party on Saturday or Friday night this week. So we're gonna have a really big dance party at my place. We're gonna have some fun, and Halloween. So everybody knows this as well. We are opening up our courtyard to all the local businesses, to where they can come set up a table for free and hand out candy to all the kids. We're going to run them through at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so you don't have to worry about your kids getting candy that's poisoned or razor bladed or anything like that. You're going to be able to run your kids through there, which is really, really cool.
That's super cute.
So, and we're still working on Buddy. I was going to put this in and I forgot about Buddy. The Bigfoot has a wrestling match, hopefully in 2022, coming up against the Great Lofa from WWE for the World Championship Hide and Seek Championship, the belt Hide and Seek Championship. So we are still working on that as well. Buddy has had that, and that'll be fun to see what the what the Samoan family is going to do to Buddy.
Right. And Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I have my D&D game.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
Jason is the bipolar DM. And
you're the bipolar dragons, right?
And we are the bipolar dragons, and our friend Robert White is on there with me.
Could you imagine what a real bipolar dragon would be like in real life?
Yeah.
That'd be scary.
Looks like everybody just went.
That'd be scary.
So is it's spitting water out and fire out of its mouth? It doesn't know if it should breathe fire.
Well, one out of one and one out of the other, maybe.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. Or it's thinking, should I burn you or shouldn't I?
Right, exactly, LeKross. I mean, it's like, or it just shoots the fire and then it goes, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm just feeling emotional right now.
Poor Yorick. I will burn thee with fire and then put you out with my pee. What?
Oh, God. That's gotta suck.
That would be terrible.
Okay, guys, we're nuts. We know it. I'm nuts. I'm just in that mood today. But
Well, listen. Yes.
What is that, Robert? Buddy the Bigfoot Bush Bashers Gardening Troop. So what are you going to do, Robert? That would be great to put Buddy the Bigfoot in Australia. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh my God. I want to go to Australia.
Me too, but that would be great. So next week, Monday, 8 o'clock, Ron Yacovetti will be here. Nice. Yes, so we're going to have a fun time too. LeKross, we are going to get you back, right?
Yes, of course.
Yay!
Of course.
I love you, LeKross.
Anything I can help with. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, we love you. So
yes.
You're welcome back anytime. And if Cindy ever needs a break, you can be my
your co-host. I'll be there with the eye on.
Got pushed out.
Hey, we can do two co-hosts. Why not? We can have him come in some night.
That's
just
right.
for fun.
That's right.
You know. So all right, guys. So Cindy, you know what time it is, right?
I sure do, honey.
All right,
love you guys.
I love you too,
I love
everybody.
you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
here
you for
and sharing
popping
your
in here.
night with us.
Yep,
You guys
yep.
freaking rock.
Exactly. All right,
Bye.
Cindy. Wherever there is darkness, there's always a
July.
light.
Thank you for listening to Paratalk Radio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy. Catch us next Monday for another fantastic guest. Please check out our show as well as others on the WLFE DB Radio Network. And remember, like, follow, and share with everyone.
Join us at WLFE-DB.com for upcoming shows and so much more.